was composed by Swami Ramakrishnananda while he was ill in Calcutta. He longed to have mother's vision. After her vision, Swami Ramakrishnananda called another beloved son of her, Ghosh, and instructed him for composing a song. As soon as the song was finished, Swami Ramakrishnananda gave up his mortal body.
Revered Swami and friends, it's an honor today to join you in the celebration of Revered Swami Swahanandaji's life. Today we're going to celebrate through some reminiscences, through music, and through videos. In order to make this, keep it on a timely fashion, we request when the speakers come up to speak, to maintain your time. Buddhadev will, at 2-minute mark, when 2 minutes is up, he'll show a 2-minute timer. And then when your time is up, he'll show that time has been up. And we request you to wrap it up at that time. I've been associated with Swami Swahanandaji since 1980. I knew him as a very little boy. And he's been intimately connected with my family. And so it's nice to really come and celebrate his life because we're going to relive some of these memories. Now, for those of you that don't know much about Swami Swahanandaji, I thought maybe I could just give you some highlights of his life. At the age of 16, first of all, Swami's father was a disciple of Holy Mother. And Swami got into the contact of Ramakrishna teachings at the age of 12. So he had a very young boy. He was destined for this life. At 16, he was initiated by his guru, Revered Swami Harinamananda, who's one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. After receiving a double MA in English and English literature, he joined the Ramakrishna order in 1947. He took his final sannyas vows in 1956. He came to the United States in 1968, and from here, from San Francisco, he went to Berkeley, and finally ended up in Hollywood, Los Angeles. Now, during his time in India, he had been to the south, in Madras, to the east, in Bengal, and to the north, in New Delhi. I have met a number of monks and devotees who have told me it's because of Swami Swahananda they are who they are today. Whether it's becoming a better monk or a better person, a better teacher or better humanitarian, people come away after meeting with Swami Swahananda to be better human beings. And this is why, if you had to describe Swami Swahanandaji's life in 2 words, I would use the words of Sri Ramakrishna: go forward. You see, he recognizes the best part of ourselves, the highest part of ourselves, even though we don't. Normally, most of us, we tend to put limitations on ourselves. We put barriers around us. We say, I can't do this. I won't do this. I just don't do this. But Swamiji used to say, who says you can't? Remove these barriers and go forward. At a time when no American monastic had ever lectured in any of our Southern California centers, Swamiji said, yes, you can. At a time when no other Vedanta center would expand the work in America because they felt they didn't have the resources or just felt it couldn't be done, Swamiji said, "Yes, you can." At a time when nuns in our convent rarely spoke and were not put in charge of centers, Swamiji said, "Yes, you can." At a time also when people of Indian origin, like myself, were not allowed to join in America, Swamiji said, "Yes, you can." I read this in front of Swamiji. He calls it the Obama speech. Yes, you can. Tat Twamasi. You are that. You are that infinite self, that infinite power, that infinite strength that can manifest in any condition, at any time, under any circumstances. And this is the greatness of these sacred souls. They believe in us. They see our potential. And their greatness comes from turning their perception into our realization. Now today, for some of us, Swami Swahananda is a teacher. And for others of us, Swami Swahananda is our guru. Do you guys know the difference between a teacher and a guru? A teacher makes you move along the path to success. A guru makes you move along the path to freedom. A teacher gives you such knowledge that will boost your ego. A guru gives you such knowledge that will destroy your ego. A teacher is to his pupil what a father is to his son. A guru is to his disciple what a mother is to her child. A teacher, being an expert himself, will lead you by the hand. A guru, being an example himself, will lead you by the heart. You're thankful to your teacher for life, but you're grateful to your guru for eternity. So the reason we have come together today is to draw inspiration, to rejuvenate our enthusiasm for the ideal. And it's especially easy when we see these principles reflected in the life of this great soul. So today, like I said, we're going to share some few reminiscences, and because there's not a lot of time, let me just make one point. When I thought about Swami Swahananda after his passing away, what comes to me is he is the embodiment of Shiva. Yesterday we described Shiva when we went to Kailas. Shiva embodies the spirit of meditation, renunciation, the care and concern for others. He is Ashutosha, simple to please. When you see Swami Swahananda, to me there is no doubt that this is the living embodiment of Shiva. You know, he would take things that devotees would give. I was with him, I was 7 years, I was his sevak. Traveled to India with him and things like this. And people would give him things like polka dot shirts, you know, things that normally nobody would wear. But yet Swamiji would take this shirt and he would actually put it on. I said, "Marty, why are you putting this on? I mean, it looks ridiculous." He said, "You see, a person has given this. It's not the object what matters, but it's the love that matters. There is love given behind this object." So what he used to accept was not so much the outer object, but the love and devotion that was given behind that object. Because time is short, I'm just going to give you one story. We were talking about teacher and student. Swami believed something in me. He put me in the San Diego Center at a very young age. And at one point, we had these two devotees, these two women, who used to help run the center. In any center, usually we count on a few core people. So these two people who did all the cleaning and really helped run the center, they had to move away because of jobs and things like this. So after they left, I had a few of these Indian boys coming to help. And I was telling Maharaj, it's getting very difficult. You see, these women, they're very intuitive. They think 3 to 4 steps around. I used to make a mess and they used to clean everything up. With these Indian boys, they seem to, I ask them to clean one thing, but then they make a mess on something else. I'm ending up having to be a mother. I have to clean up after the boys. It's really tough, There's quite a difference between these women and boys. The women just do a much better job. They're just more intuitive. They're just better. And then Maharaj was listening patiently and he said, yes, I completely understand, When Amrita left here, this one's assistant, Amrita, when she left also, then a boy came to her place, and also, I had to tell him, shouted him many times, and tell him to do these things, and boys are just not the same as women, tell him all these things, and still he'd get it wrong. So yes, women are just, they're just better at doing things. And I just felt myself, Maharaj understands. Yes, Maharaj, yes, you understand. I tried to tell these boys all these things, but they just don't listen. What to do? They're thick-headed. And Maharaj, I just felt so much compassion. Maharaj understood. It's like all my problems, they weren't solved, but they were dissolved. Okay? They just didn't exist. So I grabbed his feet, I made my pranams, and then, as I was walking out the door, I opened the door, and I realized, wait a minute. The person that replaced Amrita was me. Maharaj was talking about me. I looked over at Maharaj as I was walking out the door. I see this twinkle in his eye. Finally, he thought, oh, you got it. He gave me a wink. And then I left. This is Swami. Okay? The teacher will show his compassion, right? The guru will show his compassion, show his love, but at the same time, they'll rid you of your ego. So today we are going to have a few reminiscences from people who have met Swami. One of the other things is, between the reminiscences, Swami Kripamoyananji wanted me to bring the best from Hollywood. So I brought some few videos, whatever we've done in the past 15 years. I got some of the gems. One of the things we're going to do is, as between speakers, we're going to have a little trivia section on Swami Swahananda. It's called the SATs. In America, we have these standardized tests called Scholastic Aptitude Test. So we're going to call it the Swahananda Aptitude Test. We're going to test your knowledge on Swami Swahananda. So, to begin with, let's have our first speaker, Mr. Sinati Raja, come and share your reminiscences.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Swamiji, for asking me to give a short talk. First, I was a bit reluctant to give a short talk because there's so much I could say, but I have to reduce it to 3 or 4 minutes. So I agreed in the end. And I started working on it, and the best way I could sort of talk about anybody, I guess, but with Swami Swahananda, to make a list of words which come to my mind when I think of Swami. First word actually which came was kindness, compassion, consideration, understanding, affable, easy to talk to, easy to understand, easy to discuss. These are few of the words which I thought of. So I am not going to be talking about his intellectual capacity, and because most of you would know from his writings and lectures what he is capable of. So I'm restricting myself to just 3 personal, what I know from personal experience, rather than what has written about what he has said, but what I have observed mostly in 3 instances. The first time actually, when we started the Vedanta Society way back in 1968. Of course, we didn't have any rich sponsors. All of us were middle class, average income. So we couldn't start with a resident Swami here. And so we started it under the guidance of Swami Harinamananda from Chicago. And he used to invite all the Swamis from the States and the visiting Swamis to come to Toronto and give lectures. And so one of the Swamis we got was Swami Swahananda. And at that time, as I mentioned, we were not rich and we had to accommodate the visiting Swamis. Most of our members try to do that, do the best they can, and Swami Swahananda ended up staying with us for 2 days or so. It was during that time I got exposed to this. And we are very, very careful and considerate, and he didn't want to impose on us. So we had to make sure that he was comfortable enough, but he was very kind and considerate. And we had some talks internally, but so that's the first exposure to Swami, and we got to know him pretty well. But after that, of course, so many other Swamis came, and Swami Swahananda actually, I think, got more workload in the States. And he although he did come a few times afterwards, but we didn't, I wasn't too much individually exposed to this. So the second time actually we got to know more about him was our son who went to the States in Santa Barbara, California, 12 years ago. And of course at the time Swami Swahananda was in charge of the Southern California section with the 5 centers, and one of them was Santa Barbara. So our son got to know Swami Swahananda pretty well, and as I mentioned, his considerate understanding, and he was able to advise our son on more personal related matters, and solve problems and how to solve the problems, and so it was very helpful. And our son still continued to, and he still continues to attend the Santa Barbara session, and also goes to visit LA, Hollywood Center. I think probably he got more exposure to Swahananda. The third incident was when we sort of visited our son in Santa Barbara. We also went and stayed with Swami Swahananda at the headquarters, and I was in the Swami section, and my wife was in the women's section. So I stayed with Swami Swahananda in the ashram, and also got to have meals with them. And I remember the meal, the luncheon they had, that they had this ashram with all the Swamis there. And I was able to see how he is able to work with everybody, all the Swamis, and one of his abilities, which I have not mentioned before, is that his organization ability, and how he was able to get all of them work together. And, so these are the 3 instances where I got to know him, and I respect him well, and I understand that I don't think that most of you who know him are going to miss him very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Piyush Lala, can you just please come up while we... So we'll have our, please come up while we show one question in between.
Don't quiz me.
No, you won't be one second. Just. Go ahead.
Revered Swami Harinamananda ji, it's a great honor to be asked to say a few words about Swami Swahananda. And I thought I'll share with you some unique aspects of Swahananda ji which you may or may not know. Because I have known Swahananda since 1951 when I was a student at Pathuliyagata. Now Swahananda ji did not stay there at that time, but he used to visit us. This was his pre-monastic times. And I remember he's a tall, handsome, loving gentleman, just full of love, nothing but full of love. And when we used to meet, we look forward to meet him. So I'll give you a little joke which Harinamananda knows. So one of the old individuals who was my roommate, Swami Ashokananda, he was my roommate, and then another individual, Odajumi Mitra, they decided to do something. Swahananda was Vibhaktanjan, so he was staying in a room. They put a placard on the door of the student below it, Mathar Upore Bipod, means danger above. So, see me. And when that individual came, that took him to Vipada. So then we realized that he enjoyed the joke, and then he started other jokes in his typical Selleri language, which still rings in my ear, and this trace remained with him. So I remember him all the time, nothing but just a figure of joy. So let me now tell a little bit about Pathuliyagata, he stayed in Pathuliyagata, because I found it out from Swami Swahananda, and also one of the stalwarts, some of you may know, Dr. Swachidananda Dhar, who is a Grihi Nashi, he lives in Goat Park. He's 91, he's still alive. And we had a short memorial for Swahananda ji. After he passed away in India, I went for a reunion in Narendra. So I was very sad when he passed away. But when I went to the reunion, it was nothing but joy. And since then, I am really happy to be here. While I was driving, I was telling my wife, I'm happy to be there. So I'll tell you why I'm happy. Okay. So I wanted to see him when he was in the West Coast, but I didn't have a chance to see him for a long time. And I was in California, San Francisco, from 1964 to 67, but he still didn't arrive. And then when he arrived, he was in Berkeley. I visited the Hollywood Center, and fortunately for me, I met Prabhupada, but he was still not there, and his assistant minister was Ashokananda. He's the one who asked me to come, we met, but then he was not there. So then when I went back in Montreal, so then I landed in Canada. Once in a while, I used to speak to him. He was in Hollywood, and he would say, come. And then as you said, as you heard, he used to come to Toronto, and I have met him many times here in Toronto. And I remember one of the sessions in Shukdev's house in the morning, and Shukdev Datta organized this session. He was in charge, and he said, meditation for 45 minutes. He said, what? 45 minutes you will meditate? No, make it 15 minutes. So they negotiated half an hour. And but then, but when he went into that meditation, he was not in this world, So then I have met him many times, and I'll again share some moments of joy. So when he actually was in his own center, I took Swami Swahananda. This was in 1989. Swahananda came in 1987, but he did not go. And Swahananda was telling me, Pijru Bhaiya, Adesh Paktasi. That's when this is an order. But Swahananda didn't have time, and he could not come. So next time in 1989, in the consultation of Swahananda, I made the whole schedule for Swahananda. It's between me and Swahananda. We did that. And at that time, the ex-students, some of the older students, and Pankaj Ghosh is one in Washington. So, with the advice of Swahananda, we formed an ex-student association, a formalized association, which is the North America. And Swahananda made Swahananda his president, and then made myself and Pankaj vice presidents. So we used to publish newsletters. Initially it was monthly, then 3 monthly, then yearly, as happens, you know. And then Swahananda would write short messages, you see, and maybe a few jokes, you see, in that newsletter. But he advised us, he said, look, this is not the way. And it was used to call it Kalmit Dal. For those of you who know what Kalmit Dal means, do you all know what is Kalmit Dal? Thakur's word, okay. So it used to be called Kalmit Dal. And then the publication of Kalmit Dal, he said Kalmit Dal should do something else. So he's the one who advised us to raise some funds and send to Narendra for poor students. And as a matter of fact, with some help, so there was one of the things that was built was a guest house in Ramakrishna, part of it, and then Ashokanandaji is there, and there was a scholarship. So these things happened with his advice. And then when I used to meet him time to time, I had the good fortune of seeing him in public and private both. In privacy, he was a different person. Totally different person when I saw him the way he was. So he has been depicted beautifully by Harinamananda. What you have said is so correct. So once we decided to cook for him, me and my wife, okay? We tried that with Swahananda, but there his kitchen was women excluded. So I cooked for him, Shukta. And Swahananda found it out. So you are going to cook. Here we don't have a restriction. Women can go in our kitchen. So we went and cooked something. And he was very happy. But I know why he was happy. Because he was letting us to do the job. Whether he enjoyed the food, he didn't know. You see? So that's the way. He was like a mother in many ways. And that's the way I remember him. And that's the way I used to remember him. And he's in Ramakrishna work. I am sure he's blessing us all. Joy Guru.
Thank you. So next we're going to have a video of, I had met many Swamis in India who shared the reminiscences of Swami Swahananda and what they learned, the spiritual principles they learned. So before we have the video, I got this thing run. If you know the answer, please shout it out. First question is, where is Swami Swahanandaji's birthplace? C or D? That's what I do. Okay, the answer is Habiganj. Okay? So you see, Swami's birthplace is in Habiganj, and Swami's mother, Pramila Devi, was born in Baniacham. Okay? His father, Nirmal Chandra Goswami, is from the village Purtijuri. And the gentleman on the left here on the picture is Tarakanta Vishwas, Swami's maternal uncle, who raised Swami during his youth. And the person in the middle, the monk in the middle, is Swami Atmagyanananda, who had visited during that time. And just because a bonus question, this is the most difficult question on this exam. If you get this, you get blessings of Swami Swahananda, because very few people know this answer. Do you know Swami Swahananda's family original surname? Do you know Swami's family original surname? So, many think it's Goswami, but in fact, Swami's family surname was originally known as Ganguly, a Brahmin name. His great-great-grandfather, Rajabala, had initiated many disciples and became popularly known as Goswami. And anybody famous as a guru would have probably received the name Goswami as a title from that area. Also, Swami's pre-monastic name is Vipad Banjan, literally meaning remover of danger. He was given this name by his paternal grandmother.
and many sadhus met him. He was a student, and many senior sadhu was telling, just see, when he was a boy, then it is as if a divine child is moving on the earth, so pure, so holy, so loving, and so sympathetic to others, that as a divine child is moving on the earth. And when he was in Delhi, people would say, a prince has become a monk. His looking is like a prince has become a monk. And when you move, yes, a divine personality is moving, divine personality is walking on the earth.
Dipadda, Swami Swahananda is a student of this locality. He used to collect musti bhikka, alms from every householder's house. The musti bhikka is a nice institution there. Every householder keeps one handful of rice each time, say thrice a day, in a pot. And after a week, it is given to the Ramakrishna ashram, and thus from every house one can collect, say, 500 grams, and he was a leading volunteer at that time to collect these alms from the ashram.
Swami Harinamananda wrote to me the sentence which sustained me in many occasions in my life, especially crucial occasions. That you are becoming religious from your young days, whatever will be good for you will automatically come to you. That is swabhavik bhave asya jutiye. So this was one special thing, that from your young days you have turned to spiritual life, study well, but at the same time try to build up your life according to the ideal of Sri Ramakrishna or Thakur and Swamiji. As a result, whatever is good for you will come automatically to you.
The student was very much interesting. There was no superintendent, no sadhus. The students themselves managed it. And naturally, Vipadda or Swami Swahananda, at that time Vibhadvanjan Goswami, a senior student, college student, he became the leader of the students' home. And he would prefer to do all those work which would not be generally liked by others. As for example, say, cleansing the drains. This was the duty of him. He would take this work of the sweeping and others were doing the shrine work. Of course, being inspired by him, anybody and everybody would join when he was cleansing the drains and bathrooms. Automatically they came. This is what it meant. This, by example, by his own deed, he showed that every work is worship. From his very student's life, he would do anything. There is no decision about what, good or bad, anything. In the name of Thakur, he could do everything.
He was very close to one of our stalwart Swamis, Swami Premeshananda, whom the sadhus declare as the sadhu of sadhus. It's very close to him. So that is itself is a great thing. When we are close to a great sadhu, that greatness is infectious. Greatness is infectious. So when you are close to a great sadhu, a little at least of that greatness comes to you automatically. It is bound to be. Otherwise it cannot be close.
I met at that time, 1937, there was Swami Tejashananda, who was principal of the college at that time. She told, "Your boys have slept ever since Swami Premeshananda." very vague idea was who was Swami Premashananda. He was the pioneer worker in our area. And I heard leaders from Sundaram and others from Dhaka and other places that they are all inspired by his example. And many advice in many situations he has given. One he told, which may be useful for some in later days, that for higher realization, you must one have some type of definite idea what you want. You want a vision, a dream, or Brahma Jnana, which is rare, of course. So some immediate and some distant goal. Immediate goals are more easily realizable. That gives a little extra enthusiasm and zeal.
Another beauty we think is that whoever wants to do anything, he encourages him. And he turns his word as a very noble one, the ideal. Somebody wants to do some press, yes, he has to. We start a press, a good press in history. Somebody wants to do some agricultural work or something like that. Yes, he will start with that. Somebody wants to write a book on anything or everything. Yes, you go on writing. This is the thing. Still now, his Saturday, so many people are writing his book and that book. He sends money, yes, go on, go on, go on. He's publish it, whatever it may be. He encourages it.
When I joined the order, I was taken to Vidamdir as the superintendent. So I went around the elderly Swamis, what exactly you expect us to do? The different Swamis told different things. I went to Swami Shankaranji, who was vice president at that time. What do you expect us to do? He gave a wonderful answer. He said, you see, formal training in religion, that is a different question. You can have it. But the major thing in coming in touch with you, you can learn how to discriminate, that is enough. See, in emotional age, you don't think, you unconsciously, spontaneously react to a situation, instinctively. As you grow up, gradually rational faculty develops, you think and then act. So his advice was, if you can engender this idea of discrimination, which in religious language, of course, viveka, which are all these things will come, that is enough.
Bringing of these brahmacharis, he had that feeling. Then, even, and there was never an order from his side. He never ordered anybody. We used to go for Mangala Arati, and then we will go back to our rooms. One day he just tells casually, you see, there are a lot of brahmacharis. We were about 12. That was the maximum which he had in his time. Why don't some of you stay back in the temple and do the japam there so that the people who come from outside can see that sadhus are meditating. But he never said that you all must do it. So, of course, few of them did it.
Another Swami came across is Swami Jagadananda. In summer vacation, I went for studying the scriptures under some Jagadananda in Krishnapur. About 1 month I studied under him many of the books, all small books, big books you could not go in. And then with the conviction you taught, it was quite elderly at that time, the way you beat his breast. I am the Atma, like that you get bit, and I would be afraid so that you break anything or not.
And I found him very fearless in some respects. One day when there was bombardments, there was an Indo-Pak war, and there were bombardments. The arrangements were made that all the Swamis will go underground below the temple in the safe place where we will take shelter whenever there is siren. So it was his instructions. So when there was siren, we called all of the Swamis, especially the old Swami Nitya was there. So we took him and all this. Then I called Swami Swahananda also. Maharaj, please get up. It's time to go to the underground. Then he said, no, I will be here only. If I am to die, I will die. If I am not to die, nothing will happen to me. So he has no fear of the death also. So it was very impressive that if one does not have a fear like that, and he considers wherever he may be, if death is to come, it will come. If it does not come, it does not come.
Once I was new head, now people would come and believe man, this, that, one famous man, ambassador to Russia. Another very famous writer, his son died. Another woman, her son died in the war, Chinese war. Now, so I told this Swami Maharaj, what type of solace I can give in extreme bereavement? If somebody is alive, you can tell, oh, have patience, this thing, that thing, like that. But already dead, what can you say about this? What solace you can give? Then he told a wonderful thing which helped me through the years. It is not what you say which is important. They come near you. If you have acquired some measure of calmness and serenity within, if you have acquired some peace within, then that will be automatically imbibed by them. That is why they feel a little better by sitting near you. So that gave me a little assurance that yes, otherwise I was feeling a little lost. What way we can help these people?
Long back, probably it was probably 63, he was the head of Delhi Central. I had been to Delhi for some other business at that time. We were living in Raipur with Swami Harinamananda. So we were discussing something, Swahananda was there and myself. I was asking, yes, Swamiji says, you serve the people, and spiritual service is the best service. But how can we do? What is that? What does it mean? Then he said, look at me, boy. Spiritual service, all right. Giving spirituality is the best thing. But we are not fit for that. The next best, you can give some intellectual understanding to the person who comes to you talks, and that too also not very much helpful. Then a very important thing he told, which I was very much impressed and even now I try to follow. He said, the best thing we can do is to listen patiently with love. Whosoever comes there burning in their heart, the householders, any person who is in trouble when he comes. So let us have sympathy for the person who has come and listen it sympathetically. It's a great consolation to a person if you listen to what he says. Means if he wants to pour his heart out, empty his heart, and that gives him solace and consolation. So I learned a lesson, yes, this a sadhu should do. But before that, he must have strong mind to digest whatever he listens. He should not, his mind should not be polluted by those things. Those poor fellows, they want to tell the sadhu. That was a good thing I listened, and even now I remember, and in my humble way I try to practice it.
Swahananda, as a student of study circle, and he is a first-class gentleman. First-class gentleman. You see, as Swami says, if you become to sadhu, first become gentleman. That is Swami said. I find him in that things. Another thing is a kind-hearted man. And he has no kittimata. Kittimata means no artificiality. No artificiality in him. Spontaneous. That has struck me very much. As Guru says, more to get caught. In him I find certain things like that. Regarding his dealings with the people, kind-hearted. He doesn't try to woo anybody's feelings. He used to encourage all, one and all. Just breathe out.
Now, this about temple, something came in my mind when we went to Vrindavan, So we were going around different temples. And he asked me, why don't you give something to these beggars? There were a lot of beggars in here. I said, I never knew that. You should know. Next time when you come, you must have so much of changes. You must give to the people.
So many people may not know it. He is helping so many people, either monastic or non-monastic, or the family members or some monastic members, through me. Even now, every year he spends so much money, gives such and such so many rupees, gives such and such for treatment, gives such and such for publication of his book, and in this way he helps everybody.
Be sympathetic to poor people or anybody who comes who is in trouble. Even if he is not in trouble, it's a good thing for a sadhu to feel for others, to become sympathetic to others who come into the thought. This is what I learned from him.
And you see, it is known throughout the world that he is affectionate, that like Sharat Maharaj, Swami Swahananda, he gives shelter to all crazy people who cannot adjust themselves in other centers. They all find shelter under him. And there were some more things like one day after his birth, he generally used to sit on his cot and make japam. So I did not know, I entered his room and I found that he is making japam. But immediately he looked at me and asked me what is I told nothing. I came out. But it was so wonderful to see at his face when he was making japam. His eyes were a little red and it was so peaceful and calm. It was worth seeing. I was not very much familiar with Bengali words, and I was serving in the kitchen. Night, perhaps it was night, some sweets we were giving. And Maharaj told me, Harek Rakam. And I thought that he means one more. And he has liked that type of the sweet, so I gave one more. He said, Harek Rakam. That which means another type. But I gave it, the same time I am giving, then third time I gave, again fourth time I gave, then he said, oh. I found that he is getting angry. Why I do not understand, because I did not know Bengali. So I went to my room and I did not take my meals that day. And I thought, what, Swamiji is scolding me for nothing. I was feeling very bad. And I did not take my meals. Next day, as usual, I got up, but I did not take my breakfast. Perhaps Maharaj has noticed or not, I don't know. But at 8 o'clock or so, when I came to the office, I went into his room. So I was to ask him something, so I went there. And as soon as I opened the door, he looked at me and I looked at him. And he smiled and I was also full of, I received that love. So I immediately got hold of his feet and everything was over. So you understand that how emotional I became at that time. So this was the relation between the Swami and all the brahmacharis almost, though perhaps I may think that it was very special for me, but I think it was for all the brahmacharis same type of love.
But no feeling for others, that kind of spiritual feeling. I never had. Just like a duty. I must behave well with the people, the society. That's all I had. But this only after coming in connection, in contact with him, the everything which we did was actually converted into spirituality. I won't call it training. It wasn't a training. It was not a regimentation. You come and sit and do this kind of things or that kind of things and show you how to do meditate and how to jump up. He never did all this. Just his life. Just his life.
Seeing his wonderful development, love and other qualities, I one day asked Swamiji, how did you develop this type of loving and sympathetic attitude for all and other wonderful qualities? He replied, ঠাকুর কে ভালোবাসলে সব এসে যায়. If you love Guru Maharaj, everything will come to you automatically. You need not practice, you need not think to collect this, to collect that, to develop this, to develop that. Love Guru Maharaj, automatically everything will come to you. That is a wonderful guideline of spiritual development. And I noticed he would love Guru Maharaj, and by the grace of Guru Maharaj, wonderful development came in his life. I wondered, how he was loving, sympathetic and others, and Guru Maharaj, love of Guru Maharaj came to his life wonderfully, and Guru Maharaj, he knows nothing but Guru Maharaj and Guru Maharaj alone. I am blessed seeing his blissful life. I feel, yes, once upon a time I saw a monk and I lived with him. That is also divine blessings on me. I am very much blessed and very much happy as I stayed with him.